Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. I am Paul Machin. We've got loads of bits and pieces to be discussing all around Liverpool Football Club today. If you are live with me here on YouTube right now, then you can interact with all this stuff. It is the LFC Fan Interactive Show after all. There's some, obviously it's January, so the January transfer window is open. Lots of moves happening. Mainly players that Liverpool have loaned out coming back into the fold. We've obviously seen Owen Beck come in already. That was a couple of days ago. And obviously we know that Fabio Carvalho is being recalled. There's another player who's on his way back as well. So we're going to discuss all of those and a few of the bits and pieces along the way. But I want primarily to have a discussion around the future of Fabio Carvalho. Obviously very, very promising footballer when Liverpool brought him in, and it's not quite worked out for him since, really. Obviously the RB Leipzig loan coming to an end now. I want to know what you think he should be doing and what Liverpool should be doing with him. Let me know in the comments. Best and most interesting comments, any questions, anything you put in, I'll bring up on screen. There's an interesting one here from Y2G who says, I wondered why he went out on loan when at the time he was better than Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. Surely must have a bad attitude or something. Well, we'll discuss all of that stuff in due course. But our first news story of the day, I say news story, it's should we say a chancer on social media. The Blue Tick Brigade. Listen, as someone who let's say owns a blue tick. I've got a legitimate blue tick on Instagram, but I own one on X.com. AFC Camden or AF Camden or AFC Amden. That makes more sense, right? Does it? On the future of Curtis Jones says, if all goes to plan this season, I think we'll try to sign Curtis Jones for that 8 role next season. Depends on how he progresses / game time. He gets up there, but Mikel defo wants him. Now, nothing says legitimate media outlet and true ITK like using the word defo, and moreover using the word defo with 2 Fs. There's a debate for you. When you're writing defo, 1 F or 2. But Joe, can we have a poll, please? I think this is an important issue that I really want to get to the bottom of. Defo 1 F. I mean, it's 1, right? But do you write 2? And if you do, also let me know why. So yes, AFC Amden. What I really like, there's some sort of follow-on tweets to this, and it's the language that people use on social media when they're trying to sound officious. So there's someone underneath here. Thanks, Joe. Get involved in the comments, everyone, on the poll. The really important poll. Super Eagle, SV, a Carbaholic, says, I'm a massive fan of his. I think he's a top talent and defo the sort of profile I'm looking at. But what incentive do Liverpool / Klopp have to do business with us when we're competing for the same things? And that's a really important question. And I think it's really important that Super Eagle at SV Carbaholic thinks he's the type of profile that he's looking at. But AFC Amden says might be a Cole Palmer type situation. Been contact already, and Jones would love to move south. All depends on how much Klopp uses him. And then, oh no, Joe, don't worry, it carries on. Big love to Joe producing today, by the way, everyone. Rice at Hand of Ozil. Liverpool rejected a bid in the region of 40 million for him in the summer from an unnamed club. Things may have changed since then, but they were adamant to keep him. The Arsenal interest is legit. Fair play. And then I think, is that a goat? That looks like a goat emoji. Now, is he saying that's Curtis Jones? Is he saying AFC Amden is the goat? What do we think? What do we think to this? This is bollocks, right? This is total and utter absolute horseshit. Now, look, Curtis Jones is really good, and it's funny because I've never been on the camp of Curtis Jones is the best player in the world or anything. Although some people seem to think I have been. I always thought he was a really promising footballer. But it's great to see him getting a little bit of attention, and actually, since the run into last season onwards, obviously still had a couple of injury problems, but I think he's been really, really good, particularly in the change of system, alongside obviously Trent as well. Slightly changed role for him and flourishing for it. I'm glad to see him getting attention. He had a really good England under-21s tournament in the summer as well. Yeah, the England under-21s, the whole tournament dedicated to England under-21s. You know what I meant. So yeah, it's good. If Liverpool were shite, so if Liverpool were, and not even shite, if Liverpool were just lower down the food chain, like down the pecking order, then fine. Like, because I was about to say if he played for Aston Villa, but Aston Villa are currently better than Arsenal, right? If he played for a club like Villa or Brighton or West Ham or whatever, Newcastle, then Arsenal looking at him would be like, yeah, okay, that makes really good sense. English player, homegrown, really promising, lots of Premier League experience, still got a very high ceiling, etc., etc. But like, why? And yeah, look, to spin it out, because I love a good story. There is something in that. There might be something in that which makes it compelling. Is like if he's just a rotational player, and then Mikel Arteta comes and goes, "I'm going to build a team around you," then sound. Absolutely sound, and I get that the Cole Palmer thing is an interesting take, but this is where it all starts to it all starts to eat itself. Ouroboros. It all basically just becomes this never-ending cycle of, well, because it's a compelling sounding story, and nobody's going to come out and deny it because, let's be honest, there's nothing to it. It'll just continue to exist like that. It's very like the dirt sheets in wrestling. This do like it. Luke Thatcher makes a great comment here, and I think this is the answer. Jones for Saka. Yeah, do that. Absolutely do that. Right, so let me have a quick look through the comments and see if we've got anything on this one. What do we think on the Curtis Jones? Craig Flynn says Jones isn't going to Arsenal, and I'm a big fan of Nish here saying Curtis defo stays. Let's get a little update on the poll. Is it defo with one F or defo with two Fs? But I am astounded to say, astounded that there are currently 33% of 84 people who think that defo is spelled with two Fs. In what world? What? I mean, look, I know the English language is crazy, and you could make an argument that if it's with one F, it should be like defo or something, but like, no, not having it. 69, end the poll, 70% to defo. I'm ending the poll. I'm not even giving people the chance to embarrass themselves any further on that one. Yeah, Callum Ross definitely has one F, so surely one. Totally agree. Right, let's move on from the Curtis Jones thing. If you've got thoughts on it, do let us know. And I'll. In fact, there you go. It is a really good one from Ashley Frith, who's one of our YouTube members. Says, Curtis has been our midfielder of the season. No chance. That's an interesting take. That is an interesting take. A really interesting take. Didn't Curtis Jones admit he's an Arsenal fan? Did he? Did Curtis Jones admit he's an Arsenal fan? Did he? Sure, why not? Let's add that fuel to the fire. Right, Liverpool have recalled a couple of players. Fabio Carvalho is one. We'll come to him. Yeah, great question, Joe. How was it 70 to 29%? That's so. I'm sure it was 30% when we click stop. Anyway, Rhys Williams. This via the official Liverpool Twitter account first and foremost. Rhys Williams has been recalled from his loan spell at Aberdeen. And then let's head to the article itself. LFC want to send me push notifications. You can get to fuck. Rhys Williams has been recalled from his loan spell at Aberdeen. The 22-year-old defender is now back at Liverpool following a stint with the Scottish Premiership outfit. Williams, who joined the Reds Academy, set up at under-10 level, has made 19 appearances for Jurgen Klopp's side to date and also spent time on loan at Kidderminster Harriers, Swansea and Blackpool. Interesting. It's an interesting one, this. We're seeing, I think there's two types of loan recall that we're seeing at the moment. There's the Liverpool are short of players and need that extra security blanket. Now, we've done that with players in the past, and we're going to do it again this window. And then there's the ones who are just not getting the game time to justify them being on loan, and therefore it's like damaging their growth and then potential value. I think Rhys Williams is that. I don't think this is a move to secure depth in Liverpool's squad. I'm certainly not convinced of the case, and I do feel a bit sorry for Rhys. I'm going to get his I'll get his transfer market stats up so we can have a little look through them, because it's mad how he's been used. I mean, he was at Kidderminster on loan. Liverpool brought him back in for, what is now affectionately known as the COVID season, and obviously plays the vast majority, if not maybe even all, his Liverpool appearances in that campaign. Obviously, famously, historically, forming an incredible partnership with Nat Phillips to drag Liverpool over the line into the Champions League at the end of the campaign. But this season, it's just not worked for him at all. He's gone to Aberdeen, and Aberdeen have had Conference League football as well. So I think there would have been a look at that and gone, that's a good level for him to go to. He's had a couple of Championship loans. So after the season where he did okay for us, he had a little spell in the Championship at Swansea, and that wasn't a great loan for him. Last season, he starts the season at Blackpool and plays much more minutes and gets more 90s, but then starts to see himself sort of fade. His usage fade out a little bit. Van Dijk picks up an injury, and then we bring him in. So that's a bit of both usage. And he doesn't get played in the senior team, but he's on the bench twice. He's on the bench for the final game of last season against Southampton. But just look at this year. He's gone to Aberdeen. He's made literally one appearance for them. So that was in the Challenge Cup, where he played the full 90, on the bench for all of the Conference League games. Was only on the bench for one of the two Europa League qualifiers. In the Scottish Premiership, not in the squad, didn't feature in any one Scottish League squad, which is mad. And there you go. Played 90 minutes in the Scottish Challenge Cup. And I'll be honest, I don't even know what the Scottish Challenge Cup is. Is that the equivalent of the EFL Trophy? Any Scots? Will you let me know what is the Scottish Challenge Cup? Because it's obviously the Scottish League Cup's there, and I guess, to my knowledge, the Scottish FA Cup is twinned with, in timing of the season, with the English FA Cup, because I know the Scottish Cup final used to always be on the same day as the English one. Historically, I mean, I've got a tape of us beating Everton in '89, and I think Aberdeen actually played in the Scottish FA Cup final under Alex Ferguson. Was it 85, 89 or 86? I'm going on a tangent. I apologise wholeheartedly, but someone answer my ramblings in the comments, please. Okay, sound. Thank you so much, says Scotty. 99 says EFL Trophy, but okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. So there you go. It's the equivalent of what Liverpool's under 21s have been playing in. He could have been doing that at Liverpool, which is mad. 22 years old as well. What do we think on Rhys Williams' future? It feels to me like, unless they've got something immediately lined up, I think we can afford to take a breath on a few of these players and see how the next couple of weeks pans out with the cups. If Liverpool, for example, manage to get past Arsenal and then draw a League One or League Two team, then I'm throwing out as many of these lads as possible. Rhys Williams can come and play that game, as far as I'm concerned, and then you look to move them on at the end. I think that would all line up pretty well. But yeah, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame for him, really, because I think he lacks pace. But you can't look past the fact that he was really good for Liverpool in that spell in the end of the COVID season. So yeah, real shame. Real shame to see what's happened to him. Okay, cool. Right, we will. Okay, sorry, on the Curtis Jones thing, there you go. Apparently Simon Hughes wrote it on The Athletic today that he used to tell people he was an Arsenal fan when he was younger, and Gerrard told him to pack it in. I love that. Sad. Let's see. Okay, let's move on then. We've got David Ornstein. I meant to do this at the start. So David Ornstein has shut down the Kylian Mbappe rumours. They're all over the place. I'm seeing people mention it in the comments. David Ornstein, speaking to Rio Ferdinand's 5 podcast. I've got this from The Echo. The Athletics football correspondent said, what Kylian Mbappe earns possibly can only really be paid at PSG, possibly Real Madrid. We see Liverpool link with him. I don't know the credibility of those suggestions. If this guy's available, everyone's going to have an interest in him, but again, it doesn't translate into a signing. PSG are really relaxed about the situation from what I know. If he wants to continue with them and he wants to re-sign, then they'll do that gladly. Yeah, it reminds me a bit of when Messi became available and Klopp was asked about it and he basically just laughed. He's like, yeah, he's a boss player, but that's not a player that Liverpool are in that market. Liverpool don't exist in that market, and we can get, you can get upset about it, but it is what it is. Right, sad, yeah. So, yeah, don't get your Kylian Mbappe pants in a twist too soon on that one. Right, Ben Jacobs has been doing a good job of basically taking a lot of clicks away from people in the next few weeks. On Twitter, he's put, understand Liverpool are not actively pursuing Fluminense's Andre, despite considering him in the past. He's not on their list. Same for João Palhinha and Piero Hincapié. Really interesting that, if that's true. And of course, you never really know with Liverpool, because nobody other than the people who are actively involved in deals ever really knows these things. But I do think that's fascinating. We had this conversation on the podcast yesterday on the DM thing. Has the form of Wataru Endo in the last few weeks changed your opinion on how definitively Liverpool need a number 6 this season? Let me know in the comments. In fact, let's poll it again, Joe. Because of the form of Endo, do Liverpool definitely or definitively still need a DM in January? Let me know the answer to that. Because I do think that's interesting, because I really felt like the Andre stuff was pretty nailed on. But when you think about it, and I know this isn't necessarily the greatest answer to the problem, particularly because Endo's about to go off for a month to the Asia Cup. Obviously, Alexis McAllister has been doing that job. I think people have got mixed opinions on how well he does it. I think he's done a good job, but I've really been impressed by Endo in the last couple of weeks of just how much more physically he does it, while still having a little bit of substance and style to his game as well. Whereas I think it's a bit of a flip reverse. I think McAllister's got the aggression, but obviously the style and the overall quality on the ball is much better. But he lacks a little bit of the physicality side. It's obviously not his natural position, but he is good at it. But then obviously you've got Stefan Bajcetic, and even a bit of a forgotten man in Thiago, who could also kind of pitch in there if needs be. Does make you wonder. Interesting. Just let's have a quick check of the poll straight off the bat. Because of form of Endo, do Liverpool still defo 1F need a 6 in January? Just 34% of people saying yes. So yeah, I think that is quite an interesting sort of sea change. I think even going into the season, we haven't got any more players. In fact, we've got a little bit less, because obviously Bajcetic has been a bit of an unknown, and I don't think anyone expected Thiago to be out quite that long. But it's interesting, isn't it, when you start to see footballers play, how your opinions can change on such things. But the João Palhinha stuff makes perfect sense to me. I just think he's too old for the money that Fulham would be demanding for him. As good as he's fine. He's a good player. He's not, but is he? I don't think he's a game changer in the 6. And I think my overriding opinion on Liverpool for that position, if you're going to spend the money on it now, we've got lads who can do it, and they can do it well. We need someone who can do it exceptionally. And I don't think João Palhinha at 28, 29, I'll double check that, is the one for that. Andre might be someone who grows into it, but it's one of them. He's there. He's clearly available. 28. So, okay. So, Palhinha will be 29 in the pre-season. So, yeah, not the age range that Liverpool are going to be looking for the money, again, that would be demanded for him. So yeah, interesting one in that regard. But yeah, I think Liverpool need to go and buy a Rodri, or the next Fabinho. And what I mean by that is that needs to be it needs to be the perfect profile. It needs to be someone who's aged about, I would say, around the 23 sort of mark, who's already got top level experience in a top European league, potentially a little bit of international experience as well, and is about to have his breakout season, and is tactically flexible, strong, physical, good on the ball. A very rare breed of footballer, basically, because once you get over 6 foot, if you've then got pace and power and skill and technique, you're talking about the perfect footballer. Alisson's one of them, Van Dijk's one of them. Zidane was one of them. It's a rare sort of thing, so it costs a lot of money, and you've got to get that right. Your scouting's got to be spot on for that. Andre's interesting, and I am I'm less shocked now that Liverpool aren't interested in him than I would have been if you told me that a month ago. I thought it was 100% nailed on. we got a super chat from Hawks. Hello. He says, Happy New Year, Paul and all. Endo has shown Jurgen knows a player. Surprise. I don't think we will go after another, but I can see us moving up an adaptable defender earlier than planned because of Joel. Yes, that is the thing where I think Liverpool will be. And it's not to say that they'll definitely do it, because I think we've touched lucky with the Diaz stuff. Obviously, Porto were in sort of dire financial straits and they needed the cash. So that was an opportunity Liverpool pounced upon. The Dutch League is an odd one, isn't it? You can definitely still get a bit of value from the Dutch League. Not that Manchester United ever proved that, but Liverpool certainly did with Cody Gakpo. I wonder, looking at who we're looking at, now obviously you've got Inacio, Dan's all in on Inacio, by the way. Nkapie, I think, would have been that, but obviously Leverkusen are just having the season of their lives at the moment, so they're not going to undercut what they're doing there. Like, if they'd started brightly but it had all fallen apart, then there would have been a chance, perhaps, but he's another one that's going to cost ridiculous money. If he's the right player, he's the right player, and Liverpool have kind of proven, I think, they're very good at going and buying they're brilliant at buying really good. And that's what I think we need to do. But it's interesting to see whether that opportunity arises, or is it just like we got lucky for a couple of seasons and we might have to wait. Like Konate is the best example of that. I think if they could have got that deal done in the January, they absolutely would have done. And it's telling that they got it wrapped up in like February. It was all being like kind of rumoured that deal was basically boxed once the window had shut, to make sure it was sorted for the summer. But yeah, that was one where, it just simply wasn't possible to get him out of Leipzig at the time. But interesting comment. Yeah, I agree with that. I think a centre-half, a left-footed centre-half who can play a bit of left-back would be absolutely ideal. I said it pre-Christmas on the podcast. If you could get a left-footed Joe Gomez, then that's absolute perfection as far as I'm concerned. Okay, let's do Fabio Carvalho then, everyone. This from Rudy Galletti on Twitter says, Liverpool will let Carvalho go on loan also in this second part of the season after his return from RB Leipzig. Some English clubs, Everton, Wolves and Leicester, among others, asked info about him. The Portuguese, together with LFC, will take a decision soon. And then, can we just show this? Look, is that a picture of a chicken? A rooster. I've just over it. Literally just told me it's a rooster. There you go. It's a rooster. What? Okay. Fascinating use of emojis on today's show. Everton, nah, can't see that. No, can't see that. Wolves and Leicester. So I'll ask your opinion on this, because Fulham have been linked again, by the way. Let's throw Fulham into it. In fact, let's end the poll as well, please, Joe, on the old DM thing. It's closed up a little bit, actually, as we reached about 186 votes. Which of the three clubs that are being strongly linked with them that aren't Everton do you think would be the best fit for him to get game time? Because what Liverpool want from Carvalho, I don't think they want Carvalho. I'm starting to get that general impression, because Liverpool are about to lose. Well, Liverpool have now lost Mohamed Salah for the rest of the month and into February. You've got Ben Doak's out injured. Kate Gordon's not quite up to sort of sharpness just yet. We've got a little injured at the moment to Dominic Szoboszlai. It's not an intense period, January, but again, if you get through Arsenal, there's another cup game to throw in there as well. Just for comfort's sake, you could do worse than have Carvalho in your matchday squads for the rest of January, I think. So it's interesting to see how Liverpool approach this. But what the general gist of it is, they think there's money in Carvalho. I think at the bare minimum. And so he needs to go and have an impressive loan, because, look, he had an impressive season in the Championship and that's what caused Liverpool to go and buy him. I think he could go and have an impressive Championship end of the season and probably be worth more money than we paid for him still, because he is a Liverpool player now, which inflates the market value a little bit. So Wolves, Leicester and Fulham, we'll put the poll in again, and I want to know which of those three you think would be the best fit in terms of getting him game time and allowing him to flourish. For what it's worth, and I'll just go through the options myself while I'm waiting for you guys to Well, I'm waiting for Joe to poll, basically. The Leicester thing, immediately I think Championship, so it's a bit of a backwards career step for him. Obviously, what we know, because I looked at the Championship table, is that Leicester are absolutely pissing the Championship at the moment. Now, that is great because, look, he came from a Fulham team that were pissing the Championship as well. But is he going to get in that team? I don't know enough. Anyone who watches a lot or even a modicum of Leicester this season, let me know. I'm a little concerned about him going. It's so hard to find a loan for a footballer because you want to go somewhere where they're going to play. But if they're a team that are struggling, then you tend to rely on like your older, more traditional sort of footballers because it's a real graft. And of course, when you're flying, you don't want to upset the apple cart. I think Ben Woodburn had this at Sheffield United the season they got promoted under Wilder. They were just brilliant, and Ben Woodburn just couldn't get into that side because it was that. So it's a really tricky thing. It's got to be a smart loan for him now because you run the risk of undercutting his value and again his development. I think Carvalho is a terrific footballer. I think he's got something, and that something is the ability to arrive in the 18-yard box in the right place at the right time, and he's a great finisher as well. So the whole situation baffles me. Stones, he says, Paul should have one for staying at Liverpool. Yeah, I agreed, maybe, but my general reading of the situation is that, and a lot of the reporting is that he is just going to go straight back out on loan. So, yeah, I'm happy to have that discussion. I would keep him because I just think he's good. But again, they must just feel like there's just not the games for him at Liverpool, which is, I think it's weird. But sometimes you can be the right footballer at the wrong club at the wrong time, in the wrong place, the wrong manager, the wrong system. I'm not sure when you've got Harvey Elliott that you can have he's another Harvey Elliott, albeit a right-footed one, and probably a little bit more of an attacking, more of a front 3, 10/false 9 kind of player, but he hasn't got the physique to really be that in Liverpool's team. It's an interesting one, really interesting one. Just on the 6 thing, Robbie Brown just put the super chat in, says the 6 market, as the summer showed, is ridiculously inflated. I would love to see a centre-back in January, as we are a Canate injury away from a crisis. Yeah, that's a potential one. We do have to be careful. I think Quanta's been a big help to Liverpool this season. He really has. And yeah, this is what I mean about Liverpool's squad. If you could get someone, because I don't think Liverpool need to buy a specialist centre half necessarily right now, because the age profile you're looking for, again, you're looking for a 23, 24, maybe as young as 22, with room to develop. You need games to develop, and we've got, when he's fit, you've got Canate, and when he's fit, you've got Van Dijk. So it's hard. I think you need flexibility. This goes back to my Gomez point. Joe Gomez is a really good centre half. He's a really, really good centre half. He's actually a really good right back again, all of a sudden, which is great. And he's actually quite a good left back as well, which is magic. But this is the thing about Gomez: the game time for him at centre half isn't there still this season. And as well, actually, him being able to be flexible is giving Quanta more game time, which is in turn is bringing him on, which might save us 40 or 50 million. So it is an interesting sort of conundrum for Liverpool's transfer team to figure out about the centre half thing. But yeah, I keep going back to it. I don't know enough of the profiles because I thought Quanta did a little bit of like the left centre half thing for us in pre-season with Tsimikas playing as an inverted left back, but he's clearly right-footed. So yeah, which is a real pity. And obviously, Levi Colwill was very strongly linked. He's not had a great season, and that's gone stone cold because he signed a new contract with Chelsea, which probably keeps him tied up there until about 2040. So yeah, that's the thing. Noah here says Wolves is perfect for him. Should fit the play style and make his way into a rotation player role or starter in a mid-table Prem team. Yeah, I really like the Wolves thing. I do. I think that would be good. But Ganto then, just as a counterpoint to it, says Neto is back for Wolves, so we won't get game time there. Doesn't Neto play in the front more of off the wings though? That's just Carvalho came as a 10 from Fulham, and Liverpool don't play a 10, and we obviously wanted to mould him, but it just feels like he's never quite adapted to being a midfielder, and he doesn't seem to fit at the wide roles. I really thought he'd be like Luis Diaz's understudy on the left-hand side. And we get you, and then maybe you could do a little bit of random, like Bobby Firmino understudying in the 9, and then we bought Cody Gakpo in the summer, and that kind of put paid to that. My overall feeling at the time we signed him was very similar to what City had done. They got Haaland and Alvarez, and we bought Darwin and Carvalho, which to think that could be even remotely comparable now seems fucking laughable, right? But I getting another young attacking player who can score goals in your team, but who can be a bit flexible and pop up in different places. Carvalho felt like a very Manchester City signing. He's a very Arsenal kind of signing, but for whatever reason, it's just not worked at Liverpool, which is a bit of a pity, really. Coach Bill says Carvalho to Everton would be one way to stand with the neighbours in their relegation battle. Everton is that one neighbour that makes us better. On loan would be ideal. Yeah, but also, do you want to help Everton? I mean, I'm one of the rare few who don't mind. I bet. I'm one of the rare few who actually would rather Everton be successful than like 18 of the other teams in the Premier League. Okay, fine. Right, sad. Let's see. P. de Bork says, boy, have you all changed your songs in summer. Everyone was screaming about how we blew it, not getting a world-class number 6. Yeah, well, look, it's a long season, isn't it? But I agree, it's funny how it just exists. I just feel super positive in summers around what Liverpool are going to do, but there's a new generation of people who seem to just be really anxious at all times. Whereas, Liverpool are quite good at getting more and better out of what they've got. And also it goes back to that thing of we only ever see Liverpool play, even if you, and I like me, forensically analyse what Liverpool do, you've only got access to a fraction of the data, and that is 2 games of football a week at best. Maybe you might turn up to the games early like I do, and you watch the warm-up, so you get to see them warming up and what they do in those little small warm-up training sessions. Maybe you watch inside training or inside Anfield and you get a little bit more rounded things. But the real, the vast majority of their time as footballers happens behind closed doors at the AXA under the watchful gaze of Jurgen Klopp. So they have a much clearer picture of what they've got at their disposal. So yeah, it is always funny when people get dead wound up about things. And look, I'm not immune to it. None of us are really immune to it because we are all anxious human beings, and more so in this crazy world that we inhabit these days. But yeah, right. Gavin Howson, that's an interesting point. Carvalho to Everton on loan, then take their young centre-back we will link with. Jared Branthwaite is one that Liverpool are very, very interested in, but I can't see what Everton would let him go. But then Everton are an absolute financial mess, so who knows? That would be brilliant if we did that. Plue. Liverpool employ actual experts. I know, right? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But people on Twitter who speak with that wonderful certain language that they do don't half sow the seeds of discontent. Finn Murphy, I apologise wholeheartedly. I really struggle with the pronunciation of Gaelic. I love languages, but Gaelic pronunciations of stuff is an absolute mystery to me. It's like you use a different character. So it's like I could read some Russian. I no idea. So I apologise, Murphy. I'd love a left-footed centre-back, maybe even another centre-back along with him. I feel like Matip is gone, so more backup will be nice. Yeah, and that goes back to Hawks' point earlier. Matip's done. There's a world where Liverpool probably just keep him on a rolling contract. In a year's time, he'll be 32, 33, having gone through a serious cruciate injury. What's left, who knows, but you might be able to tempt him on a short contract and just have him as a backup player. That'd be absolutely brilliant, I think, for overall squad depth. But Liverpool need to start improving their first 11. We don't need any more squad players. If we've got squad players, Rhys Williams is a squad player. If we just want a capable centre-half, we'll just play Rhys Williams. But if we need someone who can, in the either immediate future or in the very short term, get to the level of Van Dijk, Joel Matip, Ibu Konate and Joe Gomez, because that's the bar. Anything below that needs to be very short-lived below that and on the way up. Liverpool need to sign brilliant is what I'm saying. Right. Class. let me just quickly point out some things to you. We've got a wonderful offer for all of you guys right now. We're doing some brilliant stuff over on redmenplus.com. It is the January transfer window, so they've got all this stuff. It's not just me reading articles. Dan Clubb is feverishly searching around the internet for experts to bring you closer to all of the transfer news. We've got Neil Jones doing Journo Insight as well. And don't forget, we've also got our two-part 50 Greatest Liverpool Signing special, a brilliant show that looks back on some wild and wonderful shouts from you guys voting towards that top 50. You can get it for free for an entire month if you go over to redmenplus.com and use the code KLOPP, KLOPP. Get a free month of Redmen Plus. You get the whole of January, the whole of the transfer window. That's going to be the League Cup semi-finals involved in there. Certainly the Arsenal game this weekend, maybe another one. Liverpool are top of the league. Come and sample it. Podcasts, videos, documentaries, features, interviews, all free for an entire month. Use the code KLOPP. Right, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are absolutely wonderful. Have a brilliant day. Thank you to everyone who polled. It's Defo, spelt with one F. Ta-ra. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a Legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, Legend tier status.